Ever since I was younger, I was taught by my parents and society that if you want to succeed in life, you need to go to university. However, as I've gotten older, I've realised that going to university might actually stunt people's growth in life instead of propelling them forward. So in this video, I will explain what I think all the pros and cons are to going to university, especially in the United Kingdom. So let's start with the advantages. So for many people, they might have grew up in an area that could be a bit run down, or they have a friendship group that might be a little bit unhealthy or might just have bad habits. If you are in this situation, then going to university, especially if it's relatively far away, and especially if the campus is in a nice area, can be a nice change of scenery. Because if you've identified people that you shouldn't really spend time with because they're unhealthy or whatever the reason is, or they're toxic, if you used to be really close to these people, and if you then try to spend less time with them, it can become really awkward. However, at university, you can use the convenient student excuse and say that, oh, you're a student, you're not earning money, so you're trying to save money and spend less on trains and going out and whatever it is. Another one of the benefits to unis is the societies. So most unis will have at least 40 to 50 societies, maybe even more. And let's just say you wanted to try judo or tennis and there wasn't a good leisure centre in your area near home, you can join this society at university. Doing a 3-year degree at university gives you loads of room to try and find out what kind of person you are. It's also so easy to swap and change between different societies to eventually get to the point where you're doing something that matches your interests. And as a little tip, try and do at least one thing out of your comfort zone. I think you might be surprised that you might like it. At many universities, they have staff that have been successful in their chosen field. If you want more information on this, then you can go onto the university website and they should have more information about the staff, even if it's just like a little small description. So I think this should really inform what kind of decision you make in regards to what uni you go to, especially if there's a staff there that has been really successful and they have interest in a specific area you want to go into or study. At uni, I used to get teased regarding the amount of questions I used to ask lecturers. And this has nothing to do with getting validation from the staff or anything, but the way I see it, if you are spending at least £9,000 per year on a university degree and you're not curious about the area you are studying, then why are you wasting that money and that time? Secondly, you have direct access to people who are very knowledgeable about the area you supposedly are curious about, and they are literally paid to answer your questions and to want to support you. Why wouldn't you ask them questions? One of the reasons why I achieved a first on my bachelor's degree, and part of the reason why I am on track to achieving a distinction on my master's degree, is because I ask questions. I have a deep level of curiosity. I want to ask why behind many things. And ultimately, going to university exposes you to really knowledgeable people who are more knowledgeable than you. So take advantage of this and ask questions. Obviously, assuming these are questions you want to ask, don't just ask questions for the sake of it. The last advantage I want to say to going to university, and this is a really big one, there are many jobs such as training to be a physiotherapist, being a doctor, being a lawyer, whereby you need a degree to work in these areas. There might be ways around this, but I'll explain that in a sec. The government in the United Kingdom, at least, is pushing towards apprenticeships, but again, there's still many jobs in law and medicine that you need a formal degree. Okay, now for the disadvantages. Every year, more and more people go to university. And while it is great that more and more people have access to higher education, the issue with this is that it makes university degrees less valuable. This is known as academic inflation. It almost seems as if getting a bachelor's degree 30 years ago and getting a 2-1 in the bachelor's degree it carries more weight than getting a first and a distinction on a bachelor's and master's degree respectively. The issue with this is that there are many people who are spending ridiculous amounts of time and money getting degrees is in plural, just to get jobs that they could have got through just getting some paid experience and improving their skills with networking. I think it's fair to say that many teenagers, including myself when I was a teenager, don't have the awareness or the maturity to make informed decisions about what job they should do decades down the line. I'm not sure what it's like now, but when I was at school in the United Kingdom, most unis didn't want BTECs, they only wanted A-levels, or most good universities. So at 17 years old, when you don't really have much of an awareness in regards to what you want later in life, you are ultimately meant to decide what university you go to, which has a huge amount of influence in regards to what you do in the future, and will have a huge impact on your life, whereby the chances of you getting into a university are dictated by how many key words you mention in an exam that match up with a marking criteria from an exam board. Whereby, again, a lot of this is based on experience or performance from just one day's worth of exams. Is it just me, or is that kind of silly? Surely the system where you are marked on coursework such as BTECs is a much more accurate representation of your performance, especially for people who have performance anxiety when it comes to A-levels or don't know how to prepare for exams. Active recall, spaced repetition, these are essential terms for learning that are backed by neuroscience that just are not taught at school. I had to teach myself these things after school, which is why my grades, got dramatically better. Also, when I was at school, there was no discussion around having at least one gap year to earn some money, get some good experience, and to take stock of what kind of person you are and what your preferences are and what you want to get from life. So if you're watching this video and you're about to finish school in the next year or so and you're not sure about what you want to do after school, please consider taking a gap year. It's so much better to go to university a year later and get some good experience and to get paid within that year than to go to a university, spend 3 years there and spend thousands of pounds on a degree that you didn't want to do. While I've talked about the benefits of, a change of scenery and society as a university, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't paint a full picture of a university. When you're at university, especially if you join certain societies, you are literally encouraged to drink yourself to death. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. There are societies have things called initiations, whereby you need to pass a certain test to get into a society. The term initiation has been banned at many universities because the initiations involve so much alcohol and cause so much alcohol poisoning that it's caused people to die at many universities. While this is an extreme case, obviously, this is the extreme end of the spectrum, and while there's nothing wrong with being an extrovert and wanting to go out to clubs, the amount of peer pressure to spend loads of money to get wasted every single week is insane. I felt like almost every week I would get low-key judged if I didn't want to go out and get wasted. Personally, I think getting exceptionally drunk every single week is a waste of your time, it's a waste of your money, and it's so bad for your health. Looking back at when I was at uni, I don't regret any of the nights where I skipped a night out and got an early night and woke up refreshed the next day to do a productive day. So my advice would be, if you do go to uni, if you don't want to go out, don't be peer pressured to go out, do what you want to do. But then again, take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt because I'm quite introverted. When you go to university, each year costs currently £9,250, but even though they pretty much all cost the same, usually some cost more. Despite this though, there is a huge discrepancy between the quality of courses at different universities. Doing degrees at universities like Cambridge or Oxford might cost the exact same as doing a degree in a crappy uni in the middle of nowhere. So I guess this could be seen as either a pro or a con in regards to value for money depending on where you go. However, from my experience, I think there's loads of educational courses and classes out there that have nothing to do with university that are way more cost effective than doing a degree, assuming the thing you want to go into is more theoretical and you don't need the degree to be qualified, such as being a lawyer or a doctor. I'll keep this one short because I don't want to go on a huge rant, but I think universities need to be more honest and open about job prospects. Universities will usually say stuff like, 97% of people after this course within 6 months are in further education or have a job. There is no transparency about how many people are either in further education or how many people are in a job. Again, there's no transparency about whether they're working a job they enjoy or whether they're working a job that they could have just got straight after sixth form. Also, there's been times where I've spoken to people, multiple people, who have done a 3-year degree, and only at the end of the degree, one of the lecturers has turned around to the whole class and said, oh, by the way, I know you spent 3 years and £28,000 at least, not including debt or anything, doing this degree. But by the way, job prospects aren't really good for what you want to do in the future. Good luck, by the way. All words to that effect. And obviously I'm kind of exaggerating and being sarcastic here as well. But this is still really bad. A university is a business. The business is selling a product. The product is the degree that you do. If you're selling a product, you need to be honest regarding what that product entails. It's called ethical selling. And unfortunately, many universities need to be more ethical. Debt. Debt. Tens of thousands of pounds of debt, and it takes decades potentially to pay it off. I'm going to leave it there. No more needs to be said. So this isn't really a pro or a con, this is more of like a nuanced answer, okay? And the reason for that is it's about apprenticeships. So usually apprenticeships were seen as something that would be done outside of university, but there are now courses where people can do apprenticeships within a university. So physiotherapy, for example, historically it was something where you needed to do a normal bachelor's degree to get a job in physiotherapy. But now you can do something called an apprenticeship program. So Sheffield Hallam University does this, for example, and I think Lincoln does it for nursing as well. You can get paid for an apprenticeship rather than being in tens of thousands of pounds of debt when doing a normal degree. I think I know which one I would rather choose. So in summary with this point, if there's something you want to do, but you don't want to, do all the financial debt stuff and student loans and stuff like that, you might be able to do an apprenticeship. And that could be either in university or outside university. So definitely look into that and look into whether the kind of employers you might be applying for jobs with in the future will accept that or not. As you can see in this video, I've mentioned more disadvantages than advantages. However, zooming out and showing some self-awareness here, because I went to university, I could have a bit of the grass is green on the other side mentality. Also, I'm in a position where I went to university this is my 5th year at university now that I need to do. I need to do 1 more year. And that's because I changed career path. So again, I could be biased. Secondly, I completed my degree at a point where COVID had a really big impact on my degree, so that will affect my decision as well, or will affect my opinion. So take all of that into account, take what I say with a pinch of salt, and please do your own research, especially from people who haven't went to university. As a disclaimer, I'm not against education. I think education is amazing. To quote Nelson Mandela, education is one of the most powerful tools we can use to change the world. Teaching is part of the reason why I started this YouTube channel, and it's also part of the reason why I want to, lecture in higher education. However, without, going off on another tangent, I think that reform needs to be made at some universities, not all, some universities and schools, to make education better for students. If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy the video I made here, where I talk about the different ways you can improve your focus throughout the day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there. Adios, amigos.